It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We read your emails as well. Some of them get read on the air, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. And if you got a second, go on Apple Podcasts and give us a follow at the KABC News Blitz. I am always fascinated by the concept of transportation in Los Angeles because it's a beautiful place to live, but it is impossible to get anywhere at all times. It used to be that traffic was just awful early in the morning and then the evening drive. It's awful at all times of day. I mean, I try to leave here at 10:30 thinking, okay, all the rush hour's gone. And at 10:30, the freeway's terrible. At 11 o'clock, the freeway's terrible. It's awful. Now, I'm specifically having to use the worst freeway in the world, the 405, every day. I can't stand it. When I leave at 3 o'clock, it's awful. When I first started the News Blitz, I was doing it from the radio station. I would leave at 6 o'clock, and that was a nightmare. There is no good time to be on the freeway. So I'm always curious if there's another way to live, if there's another way to do things. I will say I live a very privileged life. I'm very lucky to do what I do. I play for a living, and I do it for 4 hours a day, including this show and the John Phillips Show. Plus, I do prep. But, you know, I'm not working hard for a living. The hardest part of my day, and I have said this to my wife, I've said this to anyone that will listen, it's the commute. It's that 17-mile drive that takes an hour each way from the San Fernando Valley to Culver City. And it's not just that it takes long, and it's not that it's just bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's not just that. It's the fact that so many drivers are just awful, are terrible. So many people are impatient and they're tailgating. So many people don't pay attention to their surroundings, and they merge into you because they don't realize that there's a car in the lane they're trying to get into. So you've always got to be on high alert. It is a massive pain in the ass, either coming to Culver City or leaving Culver City. It is a nightmare every day. So I'm always in hope. Is there another way to deal with this? Is there another way to deal with life living in Los Angeles? And, you know, there's a couple of thoughts here. Well, at some point, they'll build out all this public transit by the time I'm 70. I mean, seriously, they haven't even broken ground or even come up with the plan for the whatever they're going to do with the Sepulveda Transit Corridor. I don't think that project will be finished by the time where it even matters to me anymore. So that one's out there. Maybe my life would be better if I didn't have to be the one doing the driving. Maybe that's the problem. You know, I love the idea of, well, I could be sitting in the back of a car and I could have my laptop out, or I could have my Nintendo Switch, or I could be doing research or not worrying about fighting through, getting in this lane, then moving to that lane because this lane's not moving because all the trucks are in this lane, and all the madness that we have to go through every single day. Is there another way? Well, the future is here. The future is now. And you might have seen some of these. If you happen to be working around the downtown area or Culver City, it's not everywhere yet. It's not in the Valley yet. It's not in South LA. But the autonomous cars are here. You may have seen them. They're usually a white Jaguar with a whole bunch of doodads and doohickeys on top and all of these spinning radars. And they are actual driverless cars. They have been testing Waymo in beta in Los Angeles for the last few months. You had to be an existing member from another market because they've been in San Francisco for a while and they've been in Phoenix for a while. But now they have opened up Waymo to anybody that wants to ride it, anyone that wants to try the autonomous car. The idea of this car picks you up. There is no driver. It takes you wherever you want to go. You can talk as loud as you want in the backseat. You can play whatever music you want. You can do whatever you would like because there's nobody there to stop you. And it'll take you to your destination. And theoretically, it would be cheaper than a Lyft or an Uber because you're not paying for a person. There's nobody to tip because it's a robot driving the car. Now, before I tell you my experience with this, and before we play you this piece from Fox 11 on Waymo, I am just curious. As you are the commuting population, you are the people that live and work in Southern California, you might be sitting on that freeway right now, having to go 5 miles an hour. Wouldn't it be nicer if you didn't have to do the gas brake, gas brake, gas brake? And even if you have a newer car that's got, advanced cruise control, mine goes off all the time, specifically because the conditions of the 405 are terrible. But at some point, this might be the future where you might not have to own a car if there's just a constant fleet of these things going around. Now, for some people, they wouldn't like that. Some people might love that a lot. I don't know where I stand on that. I will say the idea gets a little more attractive. Every year I see my car insurance bill, and even though I'm a much better driver than I used to be, my car insurance has gotten insane. So even if I have a paid-off car, that extra cost is a little irritating. So here's my question to you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's a new thing that's out there, and I want to know, based on what you have seen, if you would get into one of these things. Would you ride a Waymo? Do you think this is the wave of the future, or do you think this is just a fad? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Would you try an autonomous vehicle where you're not doing the driving, nobody's doing the driving? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You give us a call. Tell us if you would take a ride in a Waymo. And by the way, if you want to, all you do is download this app, Waymo One. And if you live in the specific area that it lets you use it, you can use it now. At some point, I guess they're going to figure out the valley. They got to figure out freeways. But right now, it's just side streets and main thoroughfares between downtown LA and Santa Monica. But it's something. Would you get into a Waymo? Do you think this is the wave of the future? Do you think this is just a fad? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's see what happened when one of the Fox 11 reporters got in a Waymo today.
There is no more wait list. There were 300,000 Angelinos on it at one point, but now anyone can get a robo-taxi in this 80-square-mile zone that essentially stretches from Santa Monica to downtown L.A. And I have to admit, I've been on the fence about getting in one of these things. I've seen them everywhere, but tonight I finally had to try it.
Well, because your assignment editor told you to.
It is the most advanced, fully autonomous driving technology in the world today.
And now it's available to everyone in LA.
It's designed to be really easy to use. All you have to do is download the app, put in your information, and then request a ride. Now, I've done this several times, and it keeps saying that there's server errors, but now it says I have a ride coming in 2 minutes.
Okay, well, that's not good. But then again, you get server errors with the other ride-sharing apps as well. Let me just tell you, if you ever want to go up to Carmel by the Sea, which I consider the most beautiful place in all of California, and since California is the most beautiful place in the country, I think it's the most beautiful place in the whole country, there is no cell reception whatsoever. So if you have a rideshare trying to pick you up to take you to the Monterey airport, it doesn't know where the car is, and the car has to guess where you are, because not only is there no internet service in Carmel, one of the quirky fun things about Carmel is there are no streets. There's no street signs. There's no addresses. It's a really cool place, though. I love it. Really love it.
And there it is. I almost want to wave to it, but obviously there's nobody inside. But I know that this one is mine because it has my initials right there, CE at the top. So I should just be able to unlock it on the app.
So what happens is the car pulls up and you have the app that it shows that your initials are on the screen. So you know the car is for you, because if you're in a place like San Francisco, there's tons of these things all over the place. And then you use your phone as the key to get into the car.
Pretty cool. Let's check it out. All right, so inside we've got nice music playing, obviously no driver, and I've got the prompts here on the screen. So let's start ride.
The thing gives you a little instructional. Make sure you put on your seatbelt. And I will say it is pretty cool because you've got the console right there. You can tune the radio to whatever you want, although it's, streaming radio, but it's still something. You can listen to whatever genre you want, or you can keep it totally quiet, or you can pair your phone and listen to whatever you would like.
Hello from Waymo. As we get going, just give us 1 minute to cover a few riding tips.
After some safety reminders, we were off through the Fairfax district, navigating through hundreds of cars and pedestrians. Our car did have to honk a couple times.
This is one of the more awkward aspects of the autonomous vehicles. The fact that they have to drive in the same traffic as the terrible drivers on Wilshire Boulevard.
It's honking at that car. Oh, man, look at that. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God.
But all in all, it was a smooth trip.
Got temperature control. Not going to touch any of those.
You ever been in a Uber or Lyft driver where they don't turn on the AC and they just roll the windows down and they think this is fine? And then you feel too awkward to ask?
Not going to touch any of those, obviously. Ooh, making it nice and warm. Hold it.
And another thing that's kind of cool is, at least right now, all the Waymos are these brand new Jaguars. They're gorgeous inside. Excuse me, Jaguar.
Angelinos seem mixed about whether they're ready to try it.
It just doesn't feel right. It feels like no one's in control.
I trusted enough.
Oh, because I would be too scared to get into a car with nobody driving it.
Would you get in one of these driverless cars?
I would. Yeah, I actually do sometimes. It's pretty fun, and my mind was blown the first time.
Everybody the first time is a little freaked out, myself included. My wife and I did this a few times when we were up in San Francisco in July. And the first ride is a little scary, and then you kind of love it.
His mind was blown. I have to say, ours kind of were too. It was a pretty incredible experience. Now, again, this is only available in 80 square miles of LA County right now. It doesn't go to the Valley, for instance, or South LA. It also does not.
It's only really practical if you happen to live in downtown and need to go to Santa Monica or vice versa. It will expand, though. I would assume so. I mean, this is a much bigger metropolitan area than San Francisco with much worse drivers. And again, one of the things that I always felt safe about when it was in San Francisco is, the traffic's awful everywhere in San Francisco. So it's never like you were going to be going that fast. You're never going to be going more than 20 miles an hour at possible. So what's the worst that could happen? And interestingly enough, one of the things that was irritating was we'd turn on certain side streets because our hotel was in Chinatown, and we'd be behind a guy on a bicycle. And the Waymo doesn't know how to, swerve around the bicycle. So now we're going as fast as the bicycle. But, it's okay. It's interesting the way it can figure out things like if a car is merging into you. You've got a map right there, the radar. It identifies not only the cars, it identifies the pedestrians. It is wild. Sometimes the future is here.
It also does not do drop-offs or pickups at LAX, and it doesn't go on freeways. But, of course, the company says this is only the beginning. Reporting live from the Fairfax district, I'm Chelsea Edwards. Send it back to you in the studio.
So would you ride it again? And how do you compare it to like an Uber?
I have to say, the great thing is, Alex, you don't have to talk to anyone when you're inside. You change all the settings yourself, and it's just quiet. It's just a very peaceful ride. So I could definitely see myself using it again, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. If it's fully expanded, I could see myself using it. I like my Lyft. I like my Uber. I never park at the airport. I always do rideshare at the airport. But what's the thing with rideshare? It is getting very expensive. Even to go from where I am in the Encino Van Nuys area to Burbank Airport with tip, because I'm making sure that I'm always generous to my driver. I'm spending like $100 each way, but rather do that than have to deal with parking at the airport. But here's what I want to know. Now that you've seen these things going around, would you get in one? Do you think this is the wave of the future? Do you think this is just a fad? Would you ride a Waymo? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Now, one of the issues that has happened lately is there's been a new viral trend where those rowdy-ass kids figured out how to disable these things by putting a cone on the front, or you even had somebody riding one of these things in downtown LA. It got surrounded by a bunch of thugs who decided to start tagging it and spray painting it. And you're kind of helpless because what can you do? The car doesn't know what to do, and trying to call customer support wasn't super helpful. So, interestingly enough, the biggest problem with Waymos right now is all the things that aren't the Waymos. But I'd love to know how you feel about this emerging technology. Would you get into a Waymo? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Dale in Culver City, where you see these all the time. Dale, hello.
Hey, Randy, thanks for taking my call. You know what? I drive around Culver City a lot, and I've seen these for the last several weeks. And, just being a curious type guy, I kind of swerve over to see if they move over, and they do. And then yet this morning I kind of hit the brakes a little bit, and it just changed lanes around me. But I don't think I'd want to be getting in it. I kind of just like driving my own vehicle and having that kind of freedom.
Well, there is something to being in control, especially with all the insanity that goes around. Like, I got to imagine you'd feel awkward if you're in a Waymo in specifically Culver City when you're going around all these streets that seem to be perpetually under construction. What the hell is going on Robertson Boulevard that has been under construction every single day for what seems the past 7 years since we moved over there?
Oh, yeah, even the little neighborhoods around Carson Park, they're doing a bunch of construction on one of those streets. You know what? I was wondering, maybe your other listeners would know what to do with this. What would you call the Mile High Club if you're doing it in a Waymo?
Oh, I guarantee you this has happened. I got to look that up, but I guarantee. The thing is, you have complete privacy. If that's what you wanted to do in the Waymo, ain't no one going to stop you. I love it.
All right. Thanks, Randy.
Thanks so much for the call, Dale. Appreciate it. I guarantee you that has happened. I mean, no one's looking. No one's judging. Although I'm sure there were some taxi drivers, you give them an extra 20. They don't care what you do. But hey, that's part of the things we have to think about as we embrace this emerging technology. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Kirk in Valencia. Kirk, hello.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Doing great.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of like the Jetsons, It's like the future is here. As long as they can start getting all the bugs out of it, the things that you talked about, and everybody's starting to use it, and it's starting to be something that, our culture really is gravitating to, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I really like the potential of this. And if you want to talk about a way to get a whole bunch of cars off the road, if there are a whole bunch of people that don't need to own a car because you just have a fleet of these things ready to go whenever you are, some people are still going to want a car, but some people, they only use it for commuting, and there might be a better way. I think it's fascinating. And I will say, as someone who's been in one of these things, it drives better than I do.
Well, the thing you did say was, your insurance is going through the roof. And so if you could get rid of your car and just use, that all the time, that would be something that would behoove you,
I think that's something, as soon as insurance gets more and more unaffordable, alternatives are going to start looking more and more attractive. Kirk, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. I mean, I'm paying, it's like $3,000 a person a year for us, and we're good drivers. But because every car on the road in Southern California has gotten so expensive, it's just going to get more and more and more expensive. So, yeah, I'm looking for an alternative. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Would you get into a Waymo, the autonomous vehicles you see going around Culver City and downtown LA? Would you drive one of these things? Would you get in the back seat of one of these things? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think this is the wave of the future? Do you think this is just a fad? 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. These Waymos are now available to anybody that lives in Los Angeles. They only drive in downtown LA to Santa Monica, but at least it's a start. Would you get in one of these things? Do you feel safe in a Waymo? Do you think this is the wave of the future, or do you think this is just a fad? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Tim in LA. Tim, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great.
Wonderful. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I believe driverless cars are going to be the wave of the future. I love driving myself, but obviously not in traffic. There's no fun. I've had nice cars, luxury cars, sports cars, and it doesn't matter when you're in traffic, right? They don't do anything. Well, here's my prediction. Think about traffic. There will be no traffic with automated cars. because the automated cars are going to communicate with each other. Yes, we have a ton more cars in L.A. than we do in, say, Montana or Idaho. But I'm telling you, there would be no traffic if all you had was automated cars.
Oh, on a macro scale, the potential of something like this could be a huge game changer. It's funny. It goes all the way back to the concept of the People Mover when it was unveiled at the World's Fair before it became a part of Disneyland. But yes, there could be a world that has no traffic.
Right, exactly. And there's magazines, tech publications that are predicting that car ownership will be subscription based. You won't have a car parked in your driveway. A car will pick you up at a specific time that you put in your filter. It'll pick you up from work. It'll take you wherever you go, and you can get different subscriptions for different types of cars.
That could be fascinating for especially because you could change it up based on what you're doing if you're road tripping or whoever. The potential is limitless here, and I'm very excited about the future. Tim, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Would you get into one of these Waymos? Do you think this is the wave of the future, or do you think this is just a fad? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We read your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. Waymos, the autonomous vehicles, the robo-taxis, are now open to the public in Los Angeles. They only drive in downtown LA to Culver City to Santa Monica right now, but it's a start. They've been in beta for a while. If you are around Culver City, you probably see these things every day. Would you get into one of these things? Would you ride an autonomous vehicle? Would you ride a Waymo? Do you think this is the wave of the future? Do you think this is just a fad? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Steve in the Valley. Steve, hello.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good. My first question, or my first statement is the guy that asked the question what they call it if you were mile high on it. Since it's downtown, I think they call it half a mile an hour club.
I love that. That's great.
Now, my answer on the question is, would I ride one? My one-word answer is no. My two-word answer is hell no. My three-word answer is oh, hell no.
It's not for you, huh?
No, I've worked with too many things that were computer involved, and they glitch all the time. They get locked up. They got to be rebooted. They do just the opposite of what you ask them to do. And with my luck, I'd get in there and want to go 3 blocks in Culver City, and they'd reroute me to someplace in South Dakota.
And the thing would be locked. You couldn't even get out.
There you go.
Well, there you go. You have a right to be skeptical. This stuff is brand new. Steve, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. The half a mile an hour club. If you can do better than that, I'd love to hear it. 800-222-KABC. I guarantee people have been doing it in the back of these Waymos, or at least doing something. Let's go to John in Irvine. John, hello.
Hey, thanks for having me. So I would definitely ride it, but I have 2 concerns. So I myself lose stuff all the time. So like if I leave my keys or wallet in an Uber, I'll call the driver real quick and they'll come by. I don't think that's possible with this route. And then second, everyone who drinks and, doesn't want to drive obviously will use an Uber. I'm curious as to see how cleanly they're going to keep that, since there's no buddy check-in in between rides. So I'm just curious on that.
Yeah, I wonder how often they go in for maintenance or for cleaning, because even just regular people going in and out of, let alone if they're drunk or whatever, like say someone uses it to go hiking and they've got dirt on their shoes and now there's dirt all over the fancy Jaguar. They probably have to have a system where it notices, oh, we need to stop this thing for a clean, because, yeah, there could be a lot of problems with that. And as we've seen with Uber drivers in many, many, many instances, what happens when a drunk person boots in the back of a Waymo?
Right. I mean, we get that fine, and then, it's not a pretty situation.
Yeah, well, these are things the Waymo people, if you're listening, you've got to consider. John, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. What a time to be alive that we get to think about these things. It's fascinating. I do love where this is going. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The autonomous cars are here. They've been in San Francisco and Phoenix for quite a while, but now anyone in Los Angeles can sign up for the Waymo app and they can order a robot car if you live in downtown LA to Culver City. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Would you ride a Waymo? Let's go to Adam in Huntington Beach. Adam, hello.
Hey, I'd ride one, but I want a themed Waymo, like an ice cream truck. I want to kick back in the back and munch on an Eskimo pie.
There you go. And will it be playing the music the whole time while it's taking you to your destination? Because it's not an ice cream truck unless it has a very out-of-key turkey in the straw.
What about, what's that?
It's not an ice cream truck unless it is playing a very out-of-key turkey in the straw.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Oh, good heavens, I hadn't thought about that. Now, what about like another theme, like a football helmet, a Rams football helmet going down the road, or a Dodgers baseball helmet themed vehicle, or something along those lines. So a themed experience, not just a Jag.
I mean, it might take you a while to get one because now you've got to have the very specific car. But yeah, they could definitely do themed experiences. Think about what they could do for things like Comic-Con down in San Diego or any kind of big concert. I think there's some ideas here. Now we're really brainstorming. Adam, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. I mean, heck, I'm going to take you to the strip club. Maybe we have the stripper themed one. A little pole in the middle of the back seat. Who knows? The ideas are endless. All the things you could be doing if nobody has to do the driving. I do love the idea if I did not have to commute. I would love, and maybe someday I'll get to do what Johnny does and do the working from home thing all the time. That would be great. I'd love it. I love doing it for this show. But if I did have to drive in and I could just sit in the back of a car like a Waymo and I could do all of my show prep there, I love it. It would save me so much time. I mean, I got plenty of time anyway. You don't even want to know what I do with my free time these days. Let's go to Betsy in Torrance. Betsy, hello.
Oh, hi. How is everybody there?
Everyone's great.
Good. When I was a kid, the first thing I wanted to buy with my money, several $100s, was a car. And I've been driving for many decades, and I'll tell you, my car and I have the most fun. I get in my car and I feel free, and spontaneously I'll take off. I'll drive to Oxnard, or I'll drive to Arizona. I mean, your car is liberty, and I can't imagine how people can not see that the motivation behind this is to get us out of our cars by subtle appeal to people who don't like to drive. There are people who just don't like to drive, but driving to me is synonymous with freedom. It instills a sense of adventure, and you take people out of their cars. Gosh, I just wake up, people. I mean, there's a purpose for this toy. I think it's a toy, but the human life is too valuable to be a guinea pig in a machine that is, by virtue, everybody knows that they malfunction. What do you think?
I think you make some really good points. I would say that, and you're totally right, there is an aspect of freedom, the beauty of road tripping, of going up the 101 freeway, of seeing the coast, of all the great things that you can do in your own car, in your own experience. But when it comes to commuting specifically, there is no freedom about that. That is the most soul-sucking experience in life, and it's nowhere worse than Los Angeles.
Au contraire. Oh, mon cher. Contraire. I love the smell of carbon monoxide. And when I'm driving on the freeway, I love it. Belching buses, here I come. When I'm on the freeway, I'm with my people. It's like a ballet. We're all melding, merging and weaving and we're a family. freeways are family, not for everyone. Of course, there are a lot of people are reading while they're driving, but no, let's be grateful for our automobile, and let's just be safe in them. But let's not succumb to that seductive idea that ease and comfort is going to be something. Well, some people like that, but there's a place for this Waymo somewhere. It's sure not in my family, though, not in my circle.
I love your perspective, and I love your attitude, Betsy. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Betsy is working her hardest to make sure we as a society don't end up like the humans that you see at the end of WALL-E. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Would you get in a Waymo? Do you think this is a fad or the wave of the future? 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Would you get in a Waymo? Let's go to Ray in Redondo Beach. Ray, hello.
Hi. Well, what about soccer moms? They can go pick up the kids, take them to soccer.
That would be fantastic.
I mean,
if you felt safe and the car was locked and you felt comfortable, boy, you could have the Waymo take your kid to school. Now you're saving yourself so much time. You could start drinking early. Ray, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang. More of your calls coming up next on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. Would you get in a Waymo? Let's go to Mike in Woodland Hills. Mike, hello.
Hi, 50-year listener, Eggbach.
Eggbach.
Remember that? That's right.
I mean, I know what it is, but I can't tell you honestly that I remember it because I believe when Ken and Bob went off the air, I wasn't even born yet.
That's right. I know. Make me feel older. Thank you. Anyway, so nobody's thinking about insurance. If I get into a car, 50% of the people out there have no insurance, okay? I get hit by somebody that doesn't have insurance. I got to have insurance to protect myself, right? Are they insured?
Yeah.
What kind of insurance do they carry? Yeah. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, definitely we'll use it. Absolutely. No question.
I think that is a really, really, really good point. And I got to imagine for Waymo to be able to operate in such a dangerous environment like Los Angeles with the drivers they have, they must have really good insurance because I'm sure they're getting claims already.
Yeah, that's the most important thing for me right now. Otherwise, I'd use it, no question. They just don't go to Woodland Hills.
Not yet. So no, if honestly, once they come out to the Valley, I'm using it. Whether it's if I'm going to a show at Largo or I'm going to a sporting event, it's just I think they're great. I love the technology.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to go to the insurance agent and said, "Here are the keys to the car. Enjoy yourself." I can't wait.
There you go. Mike, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Insurance is a fascinating aspect to this because I swear, insurance for owning a car is only going to go up. So it might get to a point where it makes sense to do something like this. We'll see. Let's go to Richard in Redondo. Richard, hello.
Hi there. I'm thinking that this is probably the first step towards what the Democratic supermajority would like to accomplish, and that's autonomous cars to get us towards all electric. But at the same time, they also want to get rid of all gas-powered cars anyway. And I remember as a kid being told that the future was going to be all autonomous. When you don't have any driver input, then you're going to also eliminate all auto accidents, and there will be zero traffic deaths.
That is one of the things that I hear out there, that, the big problem with cars right now is the humans driving them and the technology. If there were none of this, if it was computers driving everything, it would be safe. It would operate like it's a theme park. Richard, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. I'm excited about the technology. My wife and I rode these a few times when we were up in San Francisco. The first time we called it as quickly as we could because we realized we walked a little too far into the Soma district, which is like right where the big homelessness center begins, and it's like no, take us back to Chinatown. We don't feel safe here. But we took it a couple of times to Golden Gate Park, which, can I just say, Golden Gate Park is the coolest thing, and I love that thing. And taking that there, also, there's no one inside the car to say, you can't bring your dogs. Don't tell anyone I said that. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for another News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.